Nintendo is a company well known for iterating on their most successful hardware. That's why this new leak has people intrigued. Their ears are perked up. Because Nintendo, they're known for taking their most successful pieces of hardware and changing the shape, changing the size, a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, a little bit heavier, a little bit different, so that its players want to buy it again and again, and they can push the install base as far as possible, the game's catalog as wide as possible, and then get you to double, triple, and quadruple dip. Who hasn't bought two Nintendo Game Boys, or Game Boy Advances, or Game Boy Micros, or DSs, or DS Lites, or DSi, or 3DS, or 3DS XL, or 2DS, or new 3DS? It happens over and over again. And we've already seen it with the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch Lite, the Nintendo Switch OLED, and now today's newest leak. I just don't like this at all. Which may sound weird after all I just said about Nintendo iterating, but I think this is, it's been going around the internet and I wanted to weigh in on it. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. This leak is about the Nintendo Switch Mini. What? We already have one of those? Yes, we do. That's why I find this so confusing and strange. Nintendo Switch Lite was Nintendo's already existing attempt to shrink the Switch and make it cheaper. Yet, according to Twitter leaker Nash Weedle, he has compiled a bunch of patents that have him believing very specifically Nintendo is making an even smaller Nintendo Switch. Yes, smaller than the Lite. This would be a pocket Nintendo Switch, although I don't really know what that means. You got thumbsticks, man, so pockets are weird. But let's take a look at the evidence and see what you think. Okay, let me know in the comments down below if you agree with Nash Weedle or if you agree with me. All right, he's got a bunch of different patents that he's posted, things about changing the position of the R and L buttons, the ZR and ZL buttons, changing the position of the home and capture buttons, a new screw system, a protective shell, a new more compact cooling system, and all of this has him leading it up to be a Nintendo Switch Mini/Micro. And if we take a look at some of these patents here, it really kind of looks like an oversized Game Boy Micro, aka a Nintendo Switch Lite. This is where I start to get all sorts of weird, because yes, these are new patents. Nintendo is patenting things that don't currently exist. but and what makes this really compelling is that Nash Weedle takes it even further with a full-on list of predictions saying that it releases on February 16th, reduced pocket-sized console, removable protective cover with magnets a la like an iPad, different collectible models, so like different colors, different limited editions, variety of colors, maximum battery life of 12 hours, accepts cartridges, and then a retail price of 149 euros, which would basically roughly equate to $150 US. It's a lot of information, a lot of specifics, and it paints the picture of a console that is a Switch Lite. It's a Switch Lite, but it's even smaller. It's a Switch Lite, but a better battery life. It's a Switch Lite, but it's cheaper. It's a Switch Lite that releases in February. Yeah. Okay, let's consider it, though, for a minute, and let's talk about what Nintendo would be achieving with a Micro. A Micro would be for the person who already has a Switch but wants one smaller, but doesn't feel the Switch Lite is small enough. A Micro could be for someone who likes the idea and the ergonomics of a Switch Lite, but wants a Switch that can dock? Can this thing dock? Can the Switch Mini Micro dock? If it can't dock, then okay, throw that out. A Micro is for someone who likes the idea of a cheap collectible system in the same way that Nintendo iterated and made like a 2DS that was like a cheap pizza slice that came in fun colorways and allowed you to continue to buy your favorite handheld system, to continue to play portably, and to continue to like sort of pass down, right? You can give your current Switch to somebody, then you can get one of these new ones that's smaller. You could put it in your pocket, but it has analog sticks, so I don't know how that works. You see, the Game Boy Micro was a great pocket console, not only because it was so small, but because it had a D-pad and buttons. It was flush, pretty much, with the face of the console, and therefore it could go inside of your pocket. A, screens have gotten so much bigger since then. I don't know that anyone can cope with a Game Boy Micro-sized screen. And B, the analog sticks retract. Otherwise, it's not very pocketable. Also, in today's electronics market, bigger is usually better. Everything we have is going to embiggen the screen, right? The Steam Deck OLED made the screen bigger. The Switch OLED made the screen bigger. The Switch 2 is rumored to make the screen bigger. So this is going smaller. It's also dropping the price $50 below the Switch Lite. And getting the price down is incredibly important. That's something that you always do as you move to a new generation. And so as Nintendo preps or already makes steps to move into the Switch 2, getting the Switch lower makes perfect sense, especially as you continue to produce games like, yearly games like Just Dance and things of that sort, Pokemon, for the old system. But I don't know where this differentiates enough from the Switch Lite to even exist. If Nash Weedle was trying to sell me on a Switch Lite OLED, okay, now I am buying it. Not literally, but yes, literally, but I'm buying it like I believe what he's trying to say, because it would be an upgraded version of the Switch Lite. The only upgrade here is that it's smaller, if that can even be considered an upgrade, and the battery life is longer. 12-hour battery life is substantial, but I don't think Switch battery life has been much of a problem at all this generation. I think the new handheld computers like the ROG Ally, the Lenovo Go, and even the Steam Deck have battery issues, but I don't think the Switch really does anymore, because we see how a 2 or 3 hour battery feels compared to the Switch, which is usually double that. I don't understand what market slice this serves, but then can you understand what market the 2DS serves? The 2DS, though, was eliminating the 3D and supposed to be for younger kids. The Switch Lite already exists for younger kids. Things like the new 3DS added technology by adding a circle pad, not being discussed of any new addition here, nor would that make any sense. The XLs made things bigger, the Lites made things thinner, but the Switch is already pretty thin, and the Switch Lite is already light. To me, all that needs to happen, get this brilliant marketing idea, is the Switch Lite becomes $150. Now we save the molds, we save the manufacturing, we save the marketing, we save everything, and we can just use the existing Switch Lite, which already is sold well and does come in many different colors, comes with different limited edition patterns and designs, as we've seen with Pokemon and now with Animal Crossing, and is already released. It's not pocket size per se, but I don't know that a Switch of any type can be pocket size. I think the Switch Lite is light enough, small enough to fit this bill. You just got to drop the bill. Drop it to $150, and that's probably what Nintendo does anyways. It seems to me like this Nintendo Switch Mini Micro idea is completely fabricated. But go back to the patents, because that's where Nash Weedle is pulling this from. Patents, not just out of thin air. The patents, though, are legit. These are real patents, but let's talk about patents for a second. I've said this to you many times. Patents can be interesting, but patents have to be viewed in a very specific light, because patents that are published are almost assuredly not going to be used anytime soon, if at all. Nintendo is constantly patenting things because they have ideas, they take flyers, they're just trying, testing, working, and they want to protect what they're working on, just in case. But if something is made public, it's pretty likely that it's not going to come to fruition. We've seen like that one patent of like the detachable screen that sticks on the back of, like, could it be the Switch 2? People love to pull patents and say, this is what Nintendo's doing, but more than not, patents show you what Nintendo is not doing. If Nintendo has been patenting things for a Switch Micro, my gut tells me this was designs that eventually became the Switch Lite. There were a lot of rumors back when the Switch Lite released about a Nintendo Switch Mini and about how Nintendo would go about shrinking and condensing the Switch for a cheaper form factor and more of a family-friendly unit. Non-dockability is definitely a huge detractor, but getting a Switch at a cheaper price it's a valuable product. I think the Switch Lite is totally like a good product to have, but they already have it. And so I can't see them spending significant resources to make another even different one. Or does it sit alongside? You got the Mini, the Lite, the OLED, and it's just bananas. Nintendo, I think, can smoothly transition into having a Switch 2, a Switch OLED, and a Switch Lite. You can drop the Switch OLED down to $299, or even $250 if you want to be aggressive. You can drop the Switch Lite down to $150 or $179, and you can have your new Switch 2 take the top spot around $400. That feels totally fine to me, and it feels like what Nintendo would do. As a businessman, Furukawa probably does not see much sense in investing in a whole new form factor unless there are many more sales to be had. But the Switch is already selling fine, and I'm not sure that after releasing many limited edition OLED models, as well as light limited edition models, as well as regular Switch limited edition models with Joy-Con, we've already tapped into that market. I don't know how many people wouldn't just buy a new Switch Lite as opposed to the Mini. Like, you could just make the Lite The 2DS, you could make the Lite, the system that gets fun colors, cool collabs, different limited edition designs. We already have this system. This does not serve any purpose, and this does not really bring anything to the table that a Switch Lite can't already bring. Unless it's going to dock as well, in which case, okay, Nintendo phases out the Lite and brings in the Mini that can dock and also not dock. But the whole point of the Lite was that it can't dock, that's why it's cheaper, so I don't really know. It gets very confusing. And again, all of this leak is based upon patents. And I feel quite strongly that patents are going to lead you down the wrong path. I think patents are going to lead you down a path that Nintendo could have taken in an alternate universe. Perhaps if you Spider-Man jump into the next dimension, you'll find a world where the Switch Mini does exist instead of the Switch Lite. Because everything I see points to that's what Nintendo was investigating. Moving buttons around, moving things, battery life extension, all of that seems to fit what they already have in the Switch Lite. But I guess never say never. We've heard about Nintendo hardware in the past and it ends up being nothing that we thought it was. Remember when we thought Nintendo was going to drop a Switch Pro and it ended up being a Switch OLED? This seems way less likely than even that because it's effectively the same product. I don't really get the idea behind this at all, but I'll never say never. I'll give it a 0.2% chance of existing. 99.8, this is not a real thing. If you see this being touted around, being used as evidence for no Switch 2 or being used as evidence for Nintendo's upcoming plans, I don't buy it at all. I think Nintendo is 100% full steam ahead on Switch 2. I think the Switch Lite is the cheap system that can be iterated and have lots of different colors and can see a price drop upon the next generation. This whole idea of mini micro saved back with the GBA, I don't think it's happening anytime soon. And if it does, I'll be glad to be completely wrong. But right now I look at this and I say it makes no sense. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is there any pathway for a Switch Mini or Micro to exist alongside a Switch Lite? And then the whole patent thing. So I don't know how you argue with that because it's been proven and Nintendo has talked about how like their patents are things that don't usually happen. So there you have it. Nintendo Switch Mini. Cut. Until next time, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.